evening and welcome to Phatts TV on this Thursday night, September the 17th. For those of you that don't know, I am PA Phatts. The kid on the upper left, I should say young man, is the non-genetically proven son who has to work on getting our opening to sound a little better.
I need to restart my computer.
Because ever since you went up there, it sounds like crap.
Why don't I just email it to you and you play it?
Well, it's on Apple. Is it going to work?
I could send you an MP4.
Okay. We will have to that. It should work fine when we do that.
My computer is doing that thing where if I'm using AirPods and then disconnect them and then reconnect them, it doesn't sound very loud.
Yeah. It sounds like crap. So yes, email it to me and we'll put it into Wirecast like I do the video of PJBT and it should work fine. So excuse the fact that he's eating once again.
Almost done.
Almost done. So I want to start off, as you know, Thursday night is more of a sports night, but we do sneak in a little bit of politics. And I want to start out with politics. I want to get it over and done. Your camera's also like laggy when you move around. You like jump around. You're like 1980s Max Headroom.
Sorry.
For those of you that don't know who Max Headroom is. You'll have to look it up. But anyway, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court today is trying to change the election rules. Shocker. The law in Pennsylvania states that in order for your vote to count, it has to be into the election office or you have to be in line to vote at 8 p.m. on election evening.
Right.
That's the law. If you're voting in person, as long as you're in line by 8 o'clock, doesn't matter if it takes you 4 hours to vote, you're still allowed to vote. Because sometimes there's huge lines. If you're mailing in or using an absentee, your ballot has to be at the election office in your county by 8 o'clock on election night. Today, the Pennsylvania Supreme Court, which is full of progressives, changed the rules. Now they're saying you have until 3 days after the election to get your vote in. I'm assuming that means it still has to be postmarked by election day. Now, if you are regular viewers of the show, you have heard me talk about this, how this opens the door for fraud. Mm-hmm. On the old machines where, not the post office, the post office runs your mail through and it gets the stamp of the date. For those businesses that have those machines, if you have an older machine, you have to manually set the date. It's not electronically like they are now. Now they're digital. You really can't screw around with it. But older machines, you have to set manually. I've seen it. I worked at a company that had one of these things. I have in the past had them change the date. So a certain payment, long time ago, we're going back 20 years now, wouldn't be late. So these machines are still in existence. You want to talk about how fraud is now going to happen in the state of Pennsylvania? I was relatively at least secure in knowing fraud that way isn't going to happen in the state of Pennsylvania. Now, all bets are off. All bets are off. The guy who's walking down the steps of an airplane waving at corn can now win the state. When there was no chance in hell he was going to win the state before. I don't care what the polls say. I don't care polls that have him up 5, up 9, up 8, up 6, up 4. Doesn't matter. He's not winning Pennsylvania. Now, who knows? You have anything to say about this before I continue, non-genetically proven son?
Don't be surprised when Biden's in office now.
I mean, there's no doubt in my mind that, all right, first off, this election is probably going to end up in the U.S. Supreme Court just like the election of 2000 did, with the hanging chads of Florida. We need a national law for at least the federal part of the elections. Every state does something different. States' rights, 10th Amendment. And that's fine for the vote for governor, for state senator, for municipal judge, for sheriff, for dog catcher, for nose picker, for shit picker upper. That's the one that the Democrats always win, by the way. Those are fine. States could set their own rules. But when you're voting for president, when you're voting for U.S. senator, when you're voting for the U.S. House of Representatives, there needs to be one law for all 50 states. Period. In my opinion. It's a federal office election. We should have federal law. What say you, non-genetically proven son?
Yes.
You really gave that a lot of thought.
Well, I thought you said, let's say me, and you're putting it in an example.
No, I said, what say you? Meaning, what is your opinion?
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair.
Maybe I should just be installed king.
You be installed king?
Yes. To come up with
King.
Common sense law.
You're going to have about 50 million people that don't like those laws.
Oh, well.
Because apparently everyone that votes, Biden doesn't have common sense.
They could move to Venezuela then.
Oh, what a great place.
Well, they want to bring socialism to the United States. Let's go to Venezuela.
Maybe North Korea, then.
True. By the way, for those of you, well, that I wouldn't. Yeah, I guess they're somewhat socialist, but they're yeah. For those of you watching, our message board is live and operational. Should you wish to chime in and say something, what is your opinion on this? I would like to know. Other than that, interesting what happened on Fox News yesterday.
What happened on Fox?
Now, everybody says that Fox News slants to the right, why the Communist News Network, also known as CNN, and MSDNC slants left. A few years back, Rupert Murdoch, the guy who was in charge of Fox News, stepped down and his sons basically took over. They certainly lean more left than good old Rupert did. Now, this isn't true about the nighttime personalities, the one that gets, like Tucker Carlson that gets over 4 million viewers every night, or Hannity or Laura Ingraham. The afternoon viewers are the ones that, the afternoon shows are the ones that I'm talking about now. Again, for you regular watchers of the show, you will know that I think the most evil person on this planet is George Soros. No doubt about it. If we're ever going to drone strike somebody, it should be him.
Okay.
It should be him. So yesterday, they had Newt Gingrich on the show in the afternoon, and he went into this, 60-second spiel about how George Soros is, tries to butt in the elections. He threw many hundreds of millions of dollars a few years ago in local races to get county and state district attorneys elected who are progressives that basically, ignore certain laws, let's just say. Like what's going on in Portland or in Seattle. People get arrested for rioting and they're left right out of jail because the prosecutors refuse to prosecute them. So Newt basically went on this minute spiel about how he's trying to jump in and, once again throw money to the Democrats in the election and alter the election results. And when he was done, the two hosts basically said, we don't need to talk about George Soros here. It was very interesting. Very, very interesting. Why all of a sudden on Fox News in the afternoon can't we talk about George Soros? George Soros has always been open game at Fox News. You will not hear his name on the Communist News Network, also known as CNN and MSDNC, but you will certainly hear it on Fox. Now, I'm not a regular watcher of Fox News. Very, very rarely. I watch Fox Business. I will say that. I'm not a regular watcher of MSNBC. I do watch CNBC, which is their business channel. I'm not a regular viewer of the Communist News Network, also known as CNN. I don't watch their business channel, their headline news channel, whatever channels they have. That's just such a junk channel. I mean, I would sooner watch MSDNC before I watch the Communist News Network, if I had to choose one of the two. I prefer to watch neither, but every now and then I'll turn on MSDNC just if I want to get a laugh. Except for that schmuck that's on at 10 o'clock, Lawrence O'Donnell. He's just an absolute fucking idiot.
That schmuck.
He's a schmuck. He really is a schmuck. Once again, the message board is live and operational should anybody wish to chime in. Also, don't forget, on Election Day, definitely get out and vote. The safest way to vote is to stand in line and go vote. Wear your mask if you feel you need to wear a mask. And go vote. If you don't go vote, for the people that watch this show, our side might lose. We don't want our side to lose. Our side can't lose this election. You heard Joe Biden say over the last couple of days, a Harris-Biden administration. You heard Kamala say under a Harris administration with Joe Biden as the president. You know what they're trying to do. You know they're trying to bring progressive/socialist economic policy, economic law to this country. It doesn't work in this country. This country is way too big. I get into conversations with people all the time about socialism. They say, oh, what's so bad? Free education, free healthcare, free this, free that, free this. Sure, it works in a smaller country like Canada, but Canada has about the population of, California. The whole entire country of Canada has basically the same population as the state of California. It doesn't work. You can't have free healthcare in a country this big. The economics just don't support it. There's not enough base of taxpayers to support the people who don't pay taxes. And the elderly, the quality of the care will drastically go down. That's why I don't mind paying for my health care. Education, slightly different cup of tea for me. I'm in the ballpark of, yes, college education is too expensive for certain degrees. If you're going to be a doctor, if you're going to be a lawyer, yeah, I can understand you spending $150,000, $200,000 to get a degree. But for those that are going to a private university and getting the 2 degrees that I have, economics and listen to me, economics. Woo! Let's try that again. Take 2. The 2 degrees that I have, accounting and business administration, you should not be graduating college with $100,000 of debt. I agree with that. I graduated in the 90s with $11,000 of debt. Graduating with $25,000 of debt is fine. That's perfectly fine. That's about the debt you're going to have by the time it's all said and done. And you're going to a state school, and as a state school, yours is pretty expensive for people who reside in that state. There's other state schools like Nebraska. It's like $8,000 a year if you live in the state of Nebraska.
because nobody lives in the state of Nebraska.
It just gets funded differently by the state government.
Yeah.
So as state schools go, the school you're going to is a little more on the expensive side, actually. But because your father, whoever that was, exactly, he had a 529 college plan for you.
Wow.
That he religiously put money in every month, so I'm told. And because the stock market has done so good, you have a decent amount of money in there. Plus, you've gotten scholarships through your athletic abilities, so I'm told. You could throw the ball.
I could throw a bowling ball.
Yes. So you have some scholarships that way. So, and plus, you have some academic scholarships, too. Shockingly.
What's that supposed to? I graduated with like a 3.7. Relax.
Wow.
It's not that bad.
You graduated with a 3.7 from Conrad Weiser.
All right. All right.
You automatically have a B plus if you know how to spell your name correctly at Conrad Weiser. Let's face it.
If we take out my freshman year, I had like a 3.9.
It's a hick school.
Huh?
It's a hick school.
Damn.
Hick School
Okay.
USA. You're not going to admit that they don't have a hick. That's not a hick school.
I think Ole is more of a hex school.
They have Tractor Day.
We do not have Tractor Day.
There's been times I've driven by that school and there's tractors in the parking lot that kids have driven to school.
Okay, on spring fling, you're allowed to drive your tractor to school. That is true.
Tractors. Hick School USA. You have basically a farm on the side of your school.
You know what?
What?
So?
Did I not one time watch a soccer game with a bunch of alpacas running around the stadium?
Yeah.
That came from the farm on the side of the school.
It came from actually the farm on the school.
Yeah, on the side of the school. The
Yeah,
farm is on the
yeah.
side of the school. The
Oh,
farm.
yeah, we have a couple cows every year, a couple animals.
Yes, the farm is on the east side of the school, and somehow the alpacas got loose, and during a Saturday afternoon soccer game, they were running around the stadium.
And there was like 30 people chasing them.
Yes. Thankfully, they didn't get in the stadium, because that would have been really funny.
We have cats. We had 2 cats just kind of roam around the school as well.
Well, that's not a surprise.
We had 2, and they're supposed to be in the library, but they kind of go wherever they want.
Yeah. So, let's turn our attention to sports. We got some good news yesterday, didn't we?
What's the good news yesterday?
Big Ten is back, baby.
Sort of. I'm not that excited about it. I can't go.
At least right now, yeah. Probably won't be able to.
I just gotta ask, why did I let the alpacas loose? Yes, so I let the alpacas loose when I'm playing goalie.
Yes. Yes, you sprinted all the way across campus at halftime. Actually, they did get out in the first half, I believe. They did. It was late in the first half when they just showed up. They didn't get inside the fence of the stadium, though. They were running around the outside of the stadium. So, yes, the Big Ten is back. They will be starting Friday. I believe that's October 23rd.
I can't wait for, 9-game season?
Yes, Saturday, October 24th. And interestingly, I heard something really interesting that you might find interesting. To help recoup some money that they're losing by not allowing fans in the stadium, they might be playing Monday night Big Ten games.
How is that going to recoup money?
Because there'd be the only college game in town. So the networks, the Fox specifically, will pay more money to the Big Ten to show the games on Monday night, so they'll go up against NFL.
I can't wait for our 8-1 record of all probability.
Yes, we're still waiting for the schedule to come out. It is a let's go over this for those of you that haven't heard. It's an 8-game schedule. There's no off weeks, which is scary because what is it? If 5% of the team tests positive for COVID, they got to shut down for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So that's kind of scary that they didn't build. To me, they should have started a week early and built a week off in there for every team somewhere.
Yeah.
But they're going to have an 8-game schedule. You got to think that every team in the East is going to play every team in the East, and they'll have a couple crossover games.
Penn State will either drop Northwestern, Iowa, or Nebraska.
So who is in the East so we could figure out at least some of their games?
Michigan, Ohio State, Indiana, Michigan State, Maryland, Rutgers.
Okay, and who's in the West?
Northwestern, Iowa, Nebraska,
Purdue,
Illinois, Wisconsin, Purdue. We're missing one.
Good job. Minnesota.
So they'll probably, they'll drop Northwestern. They'll drop the easiest game.
So how many teams are there in the East?
7. It's 7 and 7.
Okay. So yes, they'll play your Michigan. Michigan State's in the East, right?
Yes.
Ohio State, Maryland, Rutgers,
Yes.
and I'm missing one. Indiana.
So 7 games?
That's 6.
6. So 6-1 or 5-1. I don't know how we're going to beat Ohio State without fans.
You know what? It wouldn't bother me at all to see them flip and have that game at Ohio State this year.
Yeah, because then we get them at home next year.
Yes. So anyway, so that's 8 games. And then the weekend after, they have the conference championship game. The first team, the first team in the East plays the first team in the West, like they always do.
Well, it's the last game of that week.
But the second place team is also going to play the second place team that week. Third place plays third place. Fourth place fourth. Fifth place fifth. Sixth place sixth. Seventh place seventh. That's how everybody gets to 9 games.
So we get to play Iowa. Good. or Minnesota. Iowa, though. I feel like the Big Ten did the no-ticket thing because Iowa and Nebraska they can have fans.
Well, no, I think they're doing the no fan thing more or less because they don't want students in there and it to become a super spreader event is why I think.
But still, Iowa was going to be we're letting fans in our stadium.
Yes, I know.
They would win the West easily.
I wouldn't say that. If they had to go to Nebraska or to Wisconsin, I don't think they win that game.
They try to schedule it at home.
No.
At night.
So we'll see. I mean, I'm still going to guess they're going to get Ohio State at home because I don't think they'll change next year's schedule around.
No, Michigan is the more exciting game in a way as a whiteout because it's Michigan. But it's not the better game, if that makes sense.
Well, yeah.
I feel like the students get more up for the Michigan game than they would the Ohio State game.
Oh, I don't. I don't think that at all.
Yeah. Do you think we can make Ohio State not snap the ball in the first play?
Well, no, because they're more disciplined of a team.
That too.
So let's look at the college football schedule for this week. It's not very good.
No, it's really not.
The best game on the board is Miami at Louisville. At least they're both ranked teams.
Yeah.
I
think there's a couple good games.
You might see that game in one of our Phatts Fantastic 5. Hint, hint. One of us may have selected that game as one of our picks. Hint, hint, hint. What other good games do we got? Georgia State, Louisiana Lafayette. Oh, big deal. Florida Atlantic, Georgia Southern. Big deal. NC State, Wake Forest. Big deal. Georgia Tech, Central Florida. Big deal. North Carolina, Charlotte. Big deal. Duke, Boston College. Big deal. Syracuse, Pitt. Big deal. App State, Marshall. Big deal. Liberty, Western Kentucky. Big deal. Southern Miss, Louisiana Tech. Big deal. Louisiana Monroe, Texas State. Big deal. SMU, North Texas. Big deal. Navy, Tulane. Troy, Middle Tennessee. Notre Dame, South Florida. Tulsa, Oklahoma State. Baylor, Houston. That could be an interesting game. That could be a high-scoring affair, potentially. A lot of people actually like Houston on the road in that game. Cincinnati, Austin P. Texas, San Antonio, Stephen F. Austin. Clemson has a tough game this week against the Citadel. The Citadel.
Hey, Citadel was tied with Alabama like 2 years ago, 7.5.
Actually, that line has come down. It opened at 47.5, and it's down to 45.
Probably because Trevor Lawrence isn't going to damn play. Or he might play the first 2 drives, and when it's 14-0, all the starters don't play.
Oh, no. They'll play at least the first 2.5 quarters.
He probably needs to play at least the first half because he's the favorite to win the Heisman.
Yes.
Even though the division sucks.
Yes.
The Oklahoma quarterbacks are not the best quarterbacks.
Oklahoma's not in Clemson's division.
No, but like they've won what, 2 out of the last 3 Heismans?
Yeah.
Ooh, you could pass against weak defense.
Well, this year they have like a redshirt freshman starting, so it doesn't matter.
He'll still end up getting like the 3rd most passing
yards. The Heisman is either going through Clemson or Ohio State this year.
Clemson.
Of all probability. So let's turn our focus to the NFL. We'll spend the last half an hour talking about the NFL. And don't forget, we got our Phatts Fantastic 5 picks coming up.
Go NHL. Go Islanders.
Ooh, yeah, the Islanders got a big double overtime win, right? Yes.
Dallas is in the Cup final.
Yes. So tonight's game is really exciting, isn't it? Cincinnati traveling on the road to Cleveland. What an exciting game that is.
Who booked that one for Thursday night? They need to be fired. There's a lot of other better games.
If you think about it, you got, 2 Heisman Trophy winning quarterbacks.
One didn't deserve it. One did deserve it.
Who do you like tonight, by the way? To win the game. Just to win the game.
Probably the Browns to win. That's about it.
The Browns are winning this game.
I could see like a 14-10 game because both offenses are.
I do not think it's going to be a 14-10 game. But
it'd be nice.
Why are the Browns going to win this game? Let's see here. You got a rookie quarterback who just made his first start in Joe Burrow. Now he's going on the road for his first game 4 days later. You're not even giving him the full week off.
Right.
That spells disaster. Absolute disaster could happen tonight for the Cincinnati offense.
And they put up 60.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So, yes, I agree that Cleveland wins this game outright. Now, the line opened very, very early at 6, and at 8. It came down to 5.5 pretty quickly. Then it jumped back up to 6, and it's been pretty much at 6 for the last couple days. Now, I have the line information off to my right. At the moment, there is, now this is just out in Vegas, there is Bet on the game $1.27 million. 54% of the cash is on Cincinnati at the +6. 46% of the cash is on Cleveland at -6. Now, percentage of bets, there's 7,853 bets at this present moment. 56% of those bets are on the Bengals. 44% of the bets are on the Browns. So when you have a higher percentage of bets on one team but a lower percentage of cash, that typically means the bigger bets are going on the other team. So more bets are going into Cincinnati, but the bigger bets are going to Cleveland in this game.
So the people that probably know what they're doing, like Cleveland.
Yes. Yes. And early this morning, it was flipped. It was 53% of the money was on Cleveland, 47% of the money was on Cincinnati. Okay. So that's flipped just in today. Usually the wise guys get their money down early, and your recreational bettors bet the day of the game. So be that as it may, take that for whatever you want. For the over-under at 44.5, that's dropped. It was 45 for most of the day.
I have 45.
Yes. 65% of the cash is on the over, and 56% of the tickets is on the over. So, that's tonight's game. Any other games interest you just on paper? I mean, I know your favorite team, the Eagles. They didn't look too good on Sunday.
What did you just say?
Your favorite team, the Eagles.
Right.
Eagles.
Washington, Arizona could be a decent thing.
Eagles got sacked 8 times. 8 quarterback sacks they gave up. They were winning that game 17-0, and they wound up losing that game 27-17.
Yeah, that was great.
Oops. Oopsie. Now they get to go home and play the Rams. The Rams are coming across country off of a Sunday night game, off of a win against the Cowboys. A 3-point win. Interestingly, that game, it opened up Philly -4 and very, very, very quickly went to Rams -1. So 5-point swing very quickly. So all the early money came in on the Rams. All the early money.
So that means pick the Eagles, right?
No, usually, what did I just say? Those that are in the know play early.
That was a joke. Damn. Games can be okay. I'm interested to see how New England does against a good opponent.
Yeah, we'll get there. That's the Sunday night game.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Brady's Tampa Bay Bucks coming off a not so good game in their first game against New Orleans, but that was you could kind of say to be predicted.
They don't cheat.
New Orleans, their coaching staff, their better players have been there playing with each other for quite a few years. A lot of the star players for Tampa Bay were new this year. I will guarantee you by about week 6 or week 7, they're a completely different team than they are last week. In fact, I will say it right now. When they face New Orleans later in the season, they will beat New Orleans. You heard it here first. They are an 8.5-point home favorite against Carolina. Carolina put up some points against the Las Vegas Raiders, but they gave up more. 8.5. The Pittsburgh Steelers, coming off a Monday night win at the Giants, their home opener against the Denver Broncos. Denver coming off a last-minute loss to Tennessee on Monday night. It's interesting. this is the first time in I don't know how many years. It hasn't happened this century where all 16 teams that were on the road in week 1 are now at home in week 2. That hasn't happened this whole century. The closest they ever came was 14. That's happened like 4 times in this century. But this week, all 16 teams who played at home in week 1 are on the road. All 16 road teams are at home. Be that as it may.
Well, you said Denver was going to have a good offense, and they looked wonderful. Let me tell you.
Yeah.
13 points.
Yeah.
And then I got a text from my buddy, who's a Denver Broncos fan, and he literally said I'd be surprised if they won 16 this year.
Really? Well,
Yes.
again, injuries have taken their toll on them.
He said he kind of wants them to tank just so they can get Trevor Lawrence.
Well, you could tell your buddy there's not a chance in hell they would draft a quarterback. That's not happening. They like their quarterback. They think they finally found their franchise quarterback since Peyton Manning came and played with them for a couple of years. What's his name? I'll let you look it up. I suck with names. But anyway, that opened up at 5, and it quickly went up to 7.5. So now that crosses a key number. The Steelers now are over the 7. What?
Drew Lock.
Drew Lock.
Drew Lock.
Yes. Yes. Will the Steelers win by more than a touchdown? Tough to say.
I don't know. They held Saquon Barkley to what, 3 yards?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
I ran more than Saquon Barkley in the first game going to my kitchen. But I don't know how. I didn't watch the game, so obviously I saw his one run because Penn State Barstool posted because he ran like 40-some yards. So
yeah,
you're telling me he had negative?
That wasn't a running play. He caught the ball.
Oh, that was a passing play.
Yes.
But it's just like 3 yards? Come on.
Yes.
Seriously, the line's that bad?
Yes, the Giants' offensive line did not look good in week 1.
They've been bad for
a while.
Going on, 5 years now? They've been terrible?
A while. Yes. Quit jumping ahead. Quit jumping ahead. We will get to the Giants game.
Draft an offensive line.
Atlanta Falcons are on the road at Dallas. Atlanta gave up a shit ton of points to Seattle. Yes. Cowboys coming off the Sunday night loss. That line opened at 7, is down to 4.5. Interesting. I think Dallas wins this game. I don't think Atlanta's that good of a team, personally.
Again.
Yeah. In fact,
again, it was the Super Bowl and all they stink. Like
this is their coach's final season. He will not be back next year if he survives this year, my prediction. My team, they suck.
Yeah, look who they're playing.
The New York Football Jets. At home, taking on the San Francisco 49ers. That line opened at 4 and quickly jumped to 7. San Francisco is the road favorite. The Jets, if the only thing they have yet to lose is the quarterback. Their coach sucks. He's not liked. He doesn't really know how to coach. Their quarterback hasn't gotten any better. Sam Darnold hasn't gotten any better since he's been there. They got receivers that are hurt. Their running back is hurt. Their offensive line is a patchwork offensive line. Do not be surprised when they score no more than 10 points this week.
That's another team that's like, when was the last time they were good?
Trust me, it's been a few years.
I mean, I remember Mark Sanchez. That's going on like 10 years now.
Yeah, he led them to a few playoff wins back in his day, back in his first couple of years.
Playoff wins, yeah.
Well, they can't even make the playoffs now.
He's only known for one thing, and that's running into a lineman's butt.
Yes.
And then fumbling it.
Unless if you're a Jets fan, then you know he's won some road playoff games, too. Buffalo.
It seems like, why do they stink? Why can't they draft anybody good? They always get a top 5 draft pick.
Because No, they don't, first off, but
Okay, they always get a top 15 draft pick. How's that?
they don't know how to develop players. That's their problem. They can't develop players. They just got to get new people in that will take their time and develop. Buffalo Bills on the road, 6-point favorite at Miami. That line opened at 3, went up to 6. Here's an interesting.
That's probably fair enough.
Yeah. Here's an interesting game. One of these teams is going to go to 0-2. You wouldn't have thought that. The Minnesota Vikings on the road as a 3-point underdog to Indianapolis.
This is going to be a big game.
Minnesota, who lost a very high-scoring game to Green Bay. The Colts, who once again went down to Jacksonville and lost. They seem to go to Jacksonville every year and lose for some unknown reason. I thought the Indy-Jacksonville game would have been low scoring. In fact, I had that in the Phatts Fantastic Five last week. Who do you think's coming out of that game with the win? Any idea?
Probably Minnesota.
Really? Interesting. They can
scored
score.
Pretty well with Green Bay. I have no faith that I have nothing to show that Indianapolis can score.
Got ya. Now,
I don't even know who their quarterback is, to be honest.
what's his name? He came from San Diego last year.
Phillip Rivers?
Yes. The Green Bay Packers, 6.5-point home favorite against the Detroit Lions. I just have the weirdest feeling that this is a close game.
Huh?
Don't be surprised when Green Bay wins this. Go ahead.
You're going to say Green Bay goes into Minnesota, wins easily.
I wouldn't say they won easily.
They won.
Yeah.
They won. You're going to say they come home and lose to Detroit?
No, I didn't say that. I said don't be surprised when it's a close game.
Barely beat Detroit.
Yeah.
And Detroit's another one of those teams that is never good.
Well, now granted, they played Chicago last week, but they had a 21-point lead, I believe it was, going into the fourth quarter.
Oh, Jesus.
And lost. In a game that they should have won. Their receiver or running back or tight end dropped a touchdown pass in the final 10 seconds of that game. He was wide open. All he had to do was catch the ball and turn and take one step and he would be in the end zone. But he turned his head before the ball got there and he dropped the pass. Or else Detroit's 1-0. Don't be surprised if Detroit keeps that game close. Do I think they're going to win? No. Interestingly, now's a good time to say this. Of all the games last week, if you were a bettor, basically, as long as you picked the team who won the game, points didn't matter. Except in one game, the very last game. The line was 2.5 or 3. Tennessee only won by 2, so the points mattered. So if you took Denver, you still won. Every other game, basically, all you had to do was pick the team that actually won the game. All the favorites covered, even San Diego covered with the spread at game time. The spread at game time went down to 2.5, not 3.5, as it was earlier in the week. So even they covered. So all the favorites that won last week covered their spread, with the exception of Tennessee. Obviously, if the underdogs win straight out, they cover their spread, obviously. So all you had to do last week, if you just picked the winner, you went 15-1.
Not bad.
So I'm bucking the trend right now by saying don't be surprised if Detroit keeps that game close.
Okay.
Giants and the Bears. 5.5. The Bears are favored. I think that's about right.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's a big-time Giants fan, and he turned me on to this bet last year, and it worked again in week 1. Always bet against the Giants in the second half. They do not know how to make adjustments at halftime of the game. They were trailing by 2 at halftime. It was 12-10, if I remember correctly. And they wound up losing by double digits.
Okay.
So For those of you that want to put a few shekels on the game, that's a good bet. The Jaguars and the Titans. The Titans open up as an 11-point favorite. That's now down to 8.
I actually don't think on 11's real unrealistic.
Yeah. I actually think that the over in this game is a good look at 43.
Why is yours so different than mine? Mine says 44.
Because you're looking at it's on Fox Bet. I'm looking at it in Vegas.
Oh, so yours is like live.
Well, yours is live too, but yours is only one betting place. Mine's a consensus of 12 of them.
Yeah.
The Cardinals are a touchdown favorite over the Redskins. Don't be surprised if the Redskins keep that within 7.
I was saying earlier, I was like, that could be an interesting game.
It can be. It can be. Kyler Murray's for real. The Ravens, 7-point road favorite over the Texans. Don't be surprised if the Ravens blow out the Texans. We might be saying that a lot this year. I believe the Ravens beat them by 34 last year, but the game was in Baltimore. The Chiefs...
This is like the furthest west they go. So I mean...
The Chiefs, 8.5-point... Although, I believe this is a look-ahead game. Look-ahead games are interesting. I believe the Ravens play the Chiefs next week. So if the Ravens aren't focused on this week, if they're more focused on the game next week, Houston could stay within the number. So the look-ahead factor could be in play in this game. Same thing with the Chiefs and Chargers. Chiefs an 8.5-point road favorite. Chargers, this is their first game in their new stadium. Don't forget they're sharing their stadium with the Rams. Same thing. Don't be surprised if San Diego finds a way to keep this game close.
LA.
The Sunday night game, Seattle against New England. New England, who completely basically changed the way they play football for Cam Newton. They ran, and then ran some more. Seattle looked really good in week 1, even though their offensive line supposedly is bad. Atlanta made their offensive line look pretty good. Seattle's a 4-point favorite. So you had started to talk about that game. What do you think about that game?
I'm very interested. I don't think it's a betting game because I don't know how New England's going to play. They play the Dolphins. That's not helpful.
But yet, I believe that's in your Phatts Fantastic 5.
It is.
And you just said it's not a betting game.
I wouldn't put money on it, but since this is fun.
Got ya.
I don't know if I'd put money on it, though.
All right. And the Monday night game, go ahead. The Monday night game, New Orleans Saints going on the road to the Las Vegas Raiders as a 6-point favorite.
You don't like this game.
I do not. I don't like it when teams are playing out of conference and the road team is the favorite. When that happens, the road favorite doesn't cover many of those games. The Raiders didn't look half bad last week, but they played Carolina. I mean, teams are never as good as they look in week 1, and teams are never as bad as they look in week 1. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Unless if you're the Jets. Jets could be really bad this year. Really bad.
They're always bad.
Especially with the injuries they had in week 1, they could be really bad. All right. So, let's pull up the Phatts Fantastic 5 for the week. We will start with the non-genetically proven sons picks. The Triple P, Phatts Fantastic 5. He went 2-3 in week 1. He likes the under in tonight's game. He likes the Dallas Cowboys, given 5. Now, don't forget, we use Fox Bet's lines as of Thursday at noon. So these were all the lines today at noon on Fox Bet. He likes Dallas -5. He likes the Rams at a pick. He likes Baltimore -7, and he likes Seattle -4. So you didn't play any college games this week.
No, because I looked at the college games. I'm just like, I don't know half of these teams. And all the lines are like 20, 30. It's like, are these teams even going to try to cover that?
I tell you what.
I mean, there was one game that I actually liked. It was maybe App State Marshall, but I don't know how good Marshall is. Because App State's only a 4.5 point favorite. So I thought, they'll probably cover that.
There was a lot of double-digit dogs that actually won straight up outright last week.
Yeah, Louisiana probably.
There was at least 3 of them that did.
Against, I forget who they beat.
At least
Some
3.
state.
Still no messages. No comment. No one likes to comment anymore.
Obviously, I know you have Clemson on your.
I do not.
We're going to cover, what is it, 45?
I do not have Clemson
45.
on mine. I do not. I have something that if you're going to bet, you actually shouldn't do. And I did it anyway.
Nice.
Okay? So let's get to my picks. I as well went 2-3 in week 1. I did play a college game. I played Louisville at home against Miami, given 2.5.
Interesting.
Now, this is what you usually do not want to do when you're betting. If you like the favorite, you usually like the over as well.
Let's say, I thought you told me you didn't like the under in that game.
Well, then I went back and relooked at it. Again, Cincy, first road game, rookie quarterback, 3 days of rest. He's not going to be ready for tonight's game.
No?
No. I could actually see like a 24-13 style game tonight.
Okay.
That's why I like Cleveland giving the 6 and the under at 45. Again, usually if you like the favorite, you're supposed to like the over. If you like the underdog, you're supposed to like the under.
Yeah.
Don't be surprised. Jets, San Francisco, under 41.5. I talked about that a little bit earlier.
I guess you expect the Jets to score.
I said don't be surprised they
6?
score 10 or less.
6?
10 or less.
Because I think San Francisco might put up 30-something themselves.
I don't. I think San Francisco is going to put up 24, 27.
So you don't think they're going to try after a while?
No, the Jets have a decent defense. I don't think San Francisco suffered a really big injury to George Kittle. Now, he never left last week's game. He kept playing throughout the entire game. He's their tight end, but he basically blocked the entire second half. He wasn't throwing the ball at all in the second half, and he didn't go out for many pass plays. He basically blocked.
Uh-huh.
A lot of their passing attack goes through the tight end in San Francisco.
Uh-huh.
So I think that's a big injury. My last play is purely a statistical play. Purely statistical. Tennessee, Jacksonville, under 44. I got 2 stats in this game. Typically, when the AFC South plays in division games, they typically go under. I believe the last 18 games, 15 of them have gone under.
So this game is going to be 40-30?
Also, teams coming off playing Denver that were on the road and now are at home typically play under. They're like 1-10 to the under. There's something about after playing Denver, especially early in the year. So when you play at Denver at Mile High Stadium and then you return home and you're a favorite, if I remember correctly, And it's the first few weeks of the season. They're like 1-10 to the under.
Okay.
So a purely statistical play on my end. So those are my picks. Okay. Louisville, Cleveland, the under Jets, the under Tennessee. Non-genetically proven son. He also likes the under in the Cleveland-Cincinnati game. He likes Dallas -5, the Rams at a pick, Baltimore -7, Seattle -4. So that is the Phatts Fantastic Five for week 2. Let's see if we could actually have a winning week this week.
0-5.
Next week, we might have some more college plays. Once the Southeast Conference, I believe, begins next week.
Was it maybe some division play?
Yes. Yeah, Southeast Conference begins, and I believe the Big 12 begins division.
Okay.
I mean,
one of those conferences good.
There is one. Tennessee and South Carolina play this week. So.
Next week, what? Kentucky and Auburn play.
Oh, boy.
At least they're both ranked.
Actually, wait, the Southeast, did they play? Who does Alabama play this week?
This week?
Or Georgia plays somebody this week?
I'm looking. I don't think.
It's hard to tell because games have been moved around so much.
Yeah, give me 1 second. I'll just look on my phone.
You can't find anything.
Sorry. Alabama doesn't play this week.
Okay, then it's next week.
Yeah, next week they play
Missouri, right? Something like that?
Missouri, yeah.
Yeah.
Missouri, yeah. Georgia plays Arkansas.
Yeah.
Oklahoma plays Kansas State. Woo!
All right, yeah. I said we'll be done by 8, so we got about 90 seconds to go. Any last words for this week?
We are.
Okay. You are. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a safe, happy, and healthy weekend. We will see you back here Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. Remember, WWG1, WGA. Have a good one.